Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lode-Holt. I've been thinking about birds lately, I guess because we have gotten a new bird feeder at our house. It's been a while since we've had one, in part because our dogs tended to chase every bird that landed in our yard, and so it was a fruitless cause to have a bird feeder. However, as our dogs have aged, perhaps they have realized that they aren't going to catch one of those birds, and lately they have seemed to give up the effort to try. So we are trying a bird feeder again. We put it up, and within about an hour the birds had found it. It's been a joy to watch them come and go, and the endless variety of birds that come to our yard. And because of that, because of how I have birds on the brain right now, I began to consider the times birds are mentioned in the Bible. I remembered a few, but when I began to look it up, I was stunned at how often birds are mentioned and referred to. I chose some of those passages for us to look at this week. In Genesis 8:8 we read, "Then he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground." Of course, the Bible story at that point is the one about Noah and the ark, and actually this dove is not the first bird of significance mentioned in that story. We often talk about it raining for 40 days and 40 nights to cause the great flood, but we may not have thought about the fact that once all the water had flooded the earth, it didn't go away when it stopped raining. In other words, after it stopped raining, there was still a long time that Noah and his family and all the animals were still in the ark, waiting for the waters to recede. I think this would have been a hard time. When it was raining, there's a clear need to be on the ark. But when the rains ceased and the sun came out, I think the day after day of nothing but water would have gotten old very quickly. At some point, Noah sent out a raven to see if it would find land, but the raven returned to Noah on the boat. The boat was the only safe harbor it found. After more time, Noah sent out this dove, and I think we might see this dove as a sign of hope. Hope deep in Noah's heart for a world restored and new, and for their sojourn on the ark to be over. This time the dove returned with an olive branch in its beak. Now there was still more time on the ark, but that meant the waters were beginning to recede. And eventually Noah and his family and the animals did find land and disembarked from the ark. But this bird remains as a powerful symbol of hope. By the way, I think there's a powerful symbol of trust hidden in this story too. You know how God sends a rainbow to say that God will not flood the earth again. Well, for a rainbow to be formed, it has to be raining somewhere. So I think it's a powerful image of trust in God that Noah understands God's commitment not to flood the earth again, even as it is currently raining. We are called to trust like that. Our second passage for today comes from Psalm 84. "Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young. At your affairs, O Lord of hosts, my God and my King." Here we have another powerful message of hope and trust in God. The passage reminds us that God watches even over the sparrows, that they find a home, and how much more will God watch over us? We can trust and hope in the providence, love, and care of this God. Finally, for today, we want to look at Psalm 91. And this one you already know, but you might not realize it. Psalm 91 opens like this: "You who live in the shelter of the Most High, who abide in the shadow of the Almighty, will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. For he will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and buckler. If that sounds a bit familiar, it's because this psalm is the basis for the hymn Eagle's Wings that so many of us love. The words of the hymn are almost verbatim from the psalm, and the refrain talks about God raising us up and helping us overcome difficulty and trouble. Indeed, the psalm opens inviting our trust in this God who watches over us. God is described as a bird, covering us with pinions so that we are protected and safe in a place of refuge. God holds us in God's strong, warm, and loving arms forever. We have a new bird feeder in our yard. Perhaps we can all feed on the hope, trust, love, care, and security we have in God. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.